Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parijakacharya Ashtotsata Shri Srimad Abhay Charana Ravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajagacharya Ashtotsata Shri Srimad Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to Sri Sri Guru and Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we're reading from Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 1. Verse we don't have purports for 17, 18 and 19. So we'll chant the verse 20 together. So I'll just read translation for 17, 18 and 19. Maitreya said, when Lord Brahmā ordered Atri Muni to create generations after marrying Anasūyā, Atri Muni and his wife went to perform severe austerities in the valley of mountain known as Ṛkṣa. In that mountain valley flows a river named Nirvindhyā. On the bank of the river are many aśoka trees and other plants full of palāśa flowers, and there is always the sweet sound of water flowing from a waterfall. The husband and wife reached that beautiful place. There, the great sage concentrated his mind by the yogic breathing exercises, and thereby controlling all attachment. He remained standing on one leg only, eating nothing but air, and stood there on one leg for 100 years. So this is the verse with the purport. Śaraṇaṁ tam prapadyeham ya eva jagad-īśvaraḥ prajām atma samāmayam prayachat iti Chintayan. Śaraṇaṁ tam prapadyeham ya eva jagad-īśvaraḥ prajām atma samāmayam prayachatva iti chintayan. Ashish, please. Śaraṇaṁ, taking shelter, tam unto him, prapadye, surrender, aham, I, ya, one who, eva, certainly, jagad-īśvaraḥ, master of the universe, prajā, son, Atma samam, like himself, mayam, unto me, prayachatu, let him give, iti, thus, chintayan, thinking. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation: He was thinking, may the Lord of the universe, of whom I have taken shelter, kindly He please to offer me a son exactly like him. Purport: It appears that the great sage Atri Muni had no specific idea of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Of course, he must have been conversant with the Vedic information that there is a Supreme Personality of Godhead who is the creator of the universe, from whom everything emanated, who maintains this created manifestation, and in whom the entire manifestation is conserved after dissolution. Yato va imani bhutani. Taittiriya Upanishad 3.1.1. The Vedic mantras give us information of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Atri Muni concentrated his mind upon that Supreme Personality of Godhead, even without knowing his name, just to beg from him a child exactly on his level. This kind of devotional service, in which knowledge of God's name is lacking, is also described in Bhagavad Gita, where the Lord says that 4 kinds of men with backgrounds of pious activities come to him, asking for what they need. Atri Muni wanted a son exactly like the Lord, and therefore he is not supposed to have been a pure devotee, because he had a desire to be fulfilled, and that desire was material. Although he wanted a son exactly like the Supreme Personality of Godhead, this desire was material because he did not want the Personality of Godhead himself, but only a child exactly like him. If he had desired the Supreme Personality of Godhead as his child, he would have been completely free of material desires, because he would have wanted the Supreme Absolute Truth. But because he wanted a similar child, his desire was material. Thus, Atri Muni cannot be counted among the pure devotees. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurmilitamena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaye Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Devamrita Swaminiti Namane. Namo Vishnupadaye Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namane. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvisesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Destarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Rama. Prabhupada's standard, Acharya standard and Srimad Bhagavatam is pretty high, because they don't just call anybody a pure devotee. Even there's slight material attachment, then it's pointed out. One time Prabhupada was walking, morning walk with that Dr. Patel. And this Patel was a Mayavadi. And Srila Prabhupada would criticize the Mayavadi gurus. And everything is going fine. This person, Dr. Patel, he knew Bhagavad Gita, like all the verses, he knew the Vedas. But then, anytime Prabhupada would criticize Vivekananda or Ramakrishna or Sai Baba, immediately he will get agitated. And Srila Prabhupada told one of his disciples that there was a man that can speak fluently many languages, and nobody can figure out what is his actual mother tongue, because he spoke them all perfectly in accent and pronunciation, everything. But then when somebody came and gave a tight slap on his back, this man screamed in his own language. So Prabhupada said, this Patel is a Mayavadi, and the devotees couldn't figure it out because, he's pious Gujarati man from India. The devotees were like looking up to him. But then Prabhupada said, when I criticize Mayavadis, you see how he reacts. And then sure enough, he said to Prabhupada, Swamiji, in our Hinduism, in Sanatana Dharma, we respect all the saints. And Srila Prabhupada said, it's my duty to point out who is not a saint. So this way, Prabhupada was showing to the devotees, how, there's difference, who is a pure devotee and who is not. Like Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he took a whole group of devotees, went to Kartik in Vrindavan, and he mentioned, we traveled all the way here and I don't even find one pure devotee here. In Vrindavan Dham, in Radha Kund, during Kartik, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur is saying, I'm so disappointed, I don't find one pure devotee here. See, you see the standard. It's not a cheap thing. And there's two kinds of yoga mayas. There's two kinds of mayas. One is yoga maya and mahamaya. The devotees in Krishna pastimes, they don't know that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And the other kind of maya that conditioned souls are in, we also don't know that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So there's two kinds of forests. There is this forest of Vrindavan, and there is this forest of material existence. So Prahlad Maharaj says to Hiranyakashipu that vanam gatho yad harim ashrayeta. How does that begin, this verse? Huh? Tatsadumanya asuravarya dehinam sada samudvignadiyam asadgrahat hitvatma gatham griham andakupam vanam gato yadharimas. So he is calling his father the best of the demons. Like we saw this movie that was produced by some devotee producers recently, this animation movie about Narasimha and Prahlad. And we read Bhagavatam, but to see it graphic on the screen with loud music and how demoniac Hiranyakashipu was, it was like Prabhupada would say, it's not a child's play. It's like he was a serious demon, and his brother and all his entourage, and Prahlad is the only one didn't have the fangs in the movie. Danya couldn't watch it. She was like, let's get out of here. She was crying the whole time. It was so scary. And Prahlad humbly calls him, O best of the demons, Asura varya dehinam sada samudvigna diyam asadgrahat. Prahlad is saying that asadgrahat, those who are identifying with the body to be the self, and this temporary planet to be our home, Prahlad says, will be always saturated with anxiety. Sada samudvigna diyam asadgrahat hitvatmagatam griham andakupam. So give up this deep dark well of existence. He's talking to his father who was like completely successful. Very successful, there's no comparison. And he's telling him, Vanam gato yad harim asriyata. He's saying, go to the forest of Vrindavana and take shelter of Harim ashraya. So this is one kind of forest, and then the other forest is this material existence. And of course, if our intelligence is not very, developed, then we ask, we surrender, we aspire for things of, in this forest of material existence. Like in the example of Hiranyakashipu was shown how, all these things, we cannot hold on to them. And Krishna reciprocates whatever we want. Like the example of a mother is given. If a mother has 3 children, one is like a teenager, and the teenage son or daughter says like, give me some money, I want to go watch a movie. And the mother gives, okay, here, have $5. I don't know how much it costs nowadays, but. And if the second child, the middle child, says, I want to go and have a play date, I want to go and play. Mother says, okay. But if there's a 6-month-old baby, he doesn't know anything about movies or friends or nothing, he just clings to the mother. And the mother completely gives herself to this child because the child doesn't know anything else. Similarly, we're seeing in the purport, Srila Prabhupada's mentioning that, he cannot be a pure devotee because he didn't have this love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But a pure devotee has so much love for Krishna and is willing to sacrifice everything to Krishna. And therefore, Krishna gives himself. Like Srila Prabhupada's example. I keep thinking how, Prabhupada Leela Amrita alone, what, before we even go to Bhagavatam and Chaitanya Charitamrita and Nectar of Devotion like that, just to read Prabhupada Leela Amrita. Whenever I'm feeling like ungrateful, like I'm kind of losing this spirit of giving Krishna to others, I read Leela Amrita, and it's really amazing. And so many lectures Prabhupada is explaining. I mean, this whole thing is an amazing example of sacrifice and surrender. And it's like even Srila Prabhupada mentions many times that this shouldn't have happened. The immigration officer is asking Prabhupada, like, how long do you want to stay in the USA? And Prabhupada's thinking like, it doesn't matter, like maybe 2 months, because what am I going to accomplish here, And Prabhupada says, but Krishna saw that this man has done all this, he's come all the way and he's sacrificed all these things. Therefore Krishna let it happen. Like many times Prabhupada would say, otherwise, what can old man with, 40 rupees can do in a city like New York? He's talked, like in the beginning days, we see in the storefront Prabhupada is talking, and Prabhupada is giving class on the Bhagavad Gita, and Srila Prabhupada says like, Krishna? The audience had no idea who's Krishna. There's like no point of reference. Like, just like, do you know Krishna? Do you know Vrindavan? You heard of Mahabharat? Like zero, like they don't know anything. From that and the amount of success, because this pure devotee is given up everything for Krishna, and Krishna turned on the tap, like Krishna turned on the flow, and there is so much reciprocation. This is the perfect example of not wasting the yogic powers for something mundane. Like Prabhupada would say, like a vulture, it can see from many miles from the sky, but what is he looking for? Looking for some dead body. Prabhupada would say this, many gurus and yogis, they come from India. And as soon as there is some little result, it's hard for a conditioned soul to like sustain. It goes to the head, the power, position. There's so much scandal. But Srila Prabhupada attracted so many beautiful women, and like men and resources and like that. But he was completely Krishna conscious and focused, and always giving credit to his spiritual master. There was a time in San Francisco, in a small storefront, so many devotees have joined, boys and girls, and Srila Prabhupada was like so happy to see that they've all come. And Srila Prabhupada started chanting the prayers to Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and he explained to his servant that I was inviting Srila Bhakti Siddhanta to come and see these results, because this is what he wanted, and so happy. So this yogic powers are not wasted. The pure devotee's approach. I'm reading this pastime of Atri Muni in Srimad Bhagavatam. Atri Muni, he was underwater for like 10,000 years. What kind of yogic power that takes. Just to get up for Mangalarti and come and offer a lamp every day in Kartik. Because Kartik is all about offering a lamp to Damodar. And the Lord is pleased, but it's even just to do this simple activity, it takes so much consistency and determination. It's not a easy thing. So, yogic powers for 10,000 years, and he made offense to Garuda, so his intelligence was taken away, and he saw like fish mating. Even we walking around the city, there's pigeons mating, there's all kinds of birds and insects mating. It's not like we're agitated, we're not even yogis. But Atri Muni, due to his offense, he was like, oh my God, I'm missing out on life. Like, why am I in the what is the point of all this? So he comes out and goes to King Mandata. Mandata is like, didn't want to be cursed by this person, but he's pretty slimy and stinky and old, and he's like, king being politician, he said, you can marry he had 50 daughters. He said, you can marry any of my daughter if they want to, I'm fine with it. And sure enough, none of them wanted to marry him. But then again, he used his yogic powers to change his appearance to like such a beautiful, handsome young man that they all started fighting over him, all the sisters. Like, I want to marry him, I want him. So he ended up marrying all of them, all 50 of them. And he had 100 children from each of the princes. So all of a sudden he has like a family of 5,000. 5,000 children, 50 wives, and he's enjoying. But it's so troublesome. Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport that it's actually a freedom, Srila Prabhupada says, not to have this material motivation and ambition. That freedom of not wanting anything, and to realize the real wealth is devotional service. When we have a lot of devotional service, that's real security. Otherwise there's no security. So Srila Prabhupada says only a devotee can experience such freedom from this anxiety like foaming at the mouth, just to have some so-called happiness and security. So whether it's like yogic powers or using credit cards or to buy the favor of the material experience like the opposite sex, is actually a lot of hard work. It doesn't come free. How much, like Friday nights, book distributors know how much makeup and perfume and how anxiety there is to attract, to go and get intoxicated, to forget. I was telling my niece, like, what kind of husband or wife somebody can find in a nightclub, like what kind of quality is that? How is that going to last? And like John Lennon said, most of the children are born over a bottle of whiskey on a Saturday night. And this is the future. It's all crazy, like, so much craziness. So this is a lot of anxiety just to attract the opposite sex. There's a lot of bills to pay and image to maintain. Or, yogic powers was used for the same thing. And then he had a moment of awakening. He had a moment of realization. That's the sign, actually. We make mistakes, but if we actually sincere, Prabhupada said, how do you know if somebody is sincere? If somebody falls down, Srila Prabhupada said, if they come back and they pick up and they start practicing and there's repentance, then Prabhupada said that means there is some sincerity there. So Sabari Muni had a moment of realization. It's like, boy, what is all this, like, what was I thinking, or what was I not thinking, gave up so much freedom, so much of my yagna and sadhana, it's all lost and I'm not even happy. Prabhupada tells the story of the Brahmana traveling, so hungry he comes across the house of a Muslim, and the Muslim man says, eat something, otherwise you're going to die. And the Brahmana says, okay, please give me some. He gives him a scoop of rice. The Brahmana was so hungry, he says, please give me some more. And the Muslim man said, sorry, that's all I have. And the Brahmana said, alas, I lost my caste and I'm not even full. I'm not full either. So like this, we are given so much mercy. Like Prabhu asked yesterday, Bhragupati Prabhu, like, how come, even the yogis in Bhagavatam, they don't fully realize Krishna. And we are given, Aradhyo Bhagavan Vrajyashatanaya Tadhamam Vrindavana Ramya Kaschid Upasana Vrajavadu Vargena Va Kalpita Srimad Bhagavatam Amalam Puranam. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is giving like the topmost experience of Radha Krishna pastime. Namokshe Grahomes Damodareha. Satyavrata Muni said, I don't want Narayan realization, I don't want opulence, I don't want liberation, I just want to remember your childhood pastimes. So we are given all this, but if we are not careful to keep it, it's not easy to keep it year after year. That's why we admire all the senior devotees, how much they have been careful and they kept, and each devotee is, like Bhragupati Prabhu alone is like worth like 10 Sankirtan devotees. So it's the yagna over the years, practice. And this way, if we are careful, then we can attain success. If we're not careful, like Prabhupada would say, Punar Mushika Bhava. Again, mouse was made into a tiger by the yogi's blessing. But then once he became a tiger, the tiger was salivating, looking at the yogi and sizing him up. And the yogi said, you want to eat me? He said, yes. He said, oh, okay. Again became a mouse. So, thank you. Any, yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you for the class. In purport, when Srila Prabhupada was mentioning that there was a material desire to attain the Supreme Lord as the Son, and it made me think right away about Vyasadeva and Devaki in their two births before, when they were Prajapatis, Prishni and Sutapa. They were doing all sort of austerities to get the Supreme Personality as their child. And Krishna did reciprocate and appeared with them, and as Krishna the third time, and after that he said that's the last time, after that you go back to Godhead. So would you explain what is the difference in that desire and the desire we were discussing today?
Well, one thing comes to mind is, Krishna understands the heart of an individual. So he reciprocates accordingly. So when Sutapa and was it Prishni?
Prishni.
obviously, like, there are different levels of devotees. Just the fact somebody is mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam, they're not ordinary, they're not like us. But again, there's different gradations of, Prabhupada gives the example. Krishna says, I have a headache. And he says to his cowherd associate, go get food dust. And they went to many yogis and jnanis and tapasvis, but they're like, we're not giving our dust to God, we'll go to hell. And when they went to the gopis, immediately they gave it. And when asked, aren't you afraid to go to hell? And said, we'll worry about that later. First, deal with the headache of Krishna, and then we can worry about hell or heaven. So there are different levels of devotees, and Krishna knows the heart, and Srila Prabhupada is training us how to be not cheap. And so obviously here, from the Acharya's mouth, we are hearing that there's a material desire here. So unless any other senior devotees want to give more light on this question. Yeah, Brigupati. Yeah.
So I can't remember who I heard it from, but a reliable source that Prabhupada said that a devotee should be ready to speak about Krishna at a moment's notice. So I just wanted everybody to know that Shastra-krit Prabhu fulfilled that instruction of Srila Prabhupada this morning. We had a bit of a mix-up, and he literally has sat down and given this class at a moment's notice. We asked him, and he just sat down. So it was really very good. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I do have, try. A little technical question. That what you mentioned about Atri Muni, about how he had, was it 100 children by each of the 50 wives? Is that detail mentioned in the Bhagavatam itself?
Yeah.
It is, okay. Thank you.
Yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. As was mentioned in the purport, that he didn't really know who God was, but he had understood that there probably is a God, and he didn't know the name of God. So for someone in that situation who may assume there's God, but they don't know the name, pastimes, form of the Lord, can that person still go back to Godhead? And what would they do to do that? Or do they have to know about the details of Krishna?
Yeah, good question. I was remembering Gajendra as I was reading this purport, because Gajendra also didn't give specific detail. But the demigods understood, and Krishna understood, because the demigods understood he is not calling for us. And Krishna came. Krishna wanted to come so fast. It's mentioned, the Acharya's commentary, that the Garuda was not flying fast enough. So Krishna was holding Garuda in hand and he was coming super fast. And at the end, to give credit to Garuda, he jumped back on Garuda when he appeared on the scene. So Krishna wants to serve his devotees, can't even, wait, because he understands. But many religions of this world, they don't know the name, form, quality, pastimes of Krishna. But generally speaking, it's hard to love somebody that we don't know anything about. So, it can be very deep. But Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, out of these 8 stages of progress in bhakti, like Shraddha, Sadhu Sangha, Bhajana Kriya, Anartha, Nivritti, like that. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that even before Shraddha, Sadhu Sangha, even before, there was some interaction and some service, some agyata sukriti, some connection with devotees, some place it says, before that happens. So, generally speaking, that, we have to have knowledge, like Srila Prabhupada mentioned in one lecture, like you have no right to go and tell others about Krishna unless, like you're studying Bhagavatam and like that. So generally speaking, is the safe thing for us is to, like have knowledge and develop hearing, taste, chanting. This way, like our faith can be like strong, not just like some puppy love, Some devotees say, oh, I like Ramchandra more, I like Narsingha more, and they're like 2 weeks in Krishna consciousness. But to go deeply into these books is that way we can go the distance. And when I met this Christian person, he was saying, no, I don't read these books, I have my Bible. I said, if you go to India, there's 2 billion people that follow this knowledge. So you know what you're up against, like there's a lot of missionaries that go to India. So oh, good point. So he took the Bhagavad Gita. So knowledge is very important. But in this case, this reciprocation is still there. That's the amazing thing about Krishna. But here's some of these examples that, not directly, fully, on the Prema platform. Thank you so much. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.